Hello and welcome to Music Toolbox. Now, in relationship to my discussion of the John Cage Trust and the johncage.org website, I wanted to look at a few apps created by the John Cage Trust. I think they're really special and just a lot of fun to play with. Now, one of the things I like about both of these apps is they really don't require a lot of musical training. In fact, they don't require any musical training, but they bring up a lot of really musical conversations that you can have with your students or just with your friends. So the first app I want to look at is the John Cage Prepared Piano. Now, this app essentially simulates some of the preparations John Cage used on some of his piano compositions. And what he'd do is he'd put nuts and bolts and other metal objects between the strings of the piano to create new sounds, new harmonic textures, new percussive textures. You can actually turn on the notes. So if you can see in the bottom of each box, there's a note. So here in the top left, that's A3, and you can hear all those objects that are added to the string to create that sound. But there's also sounds which are unaltered. So here, this is just a piano, a string that has no alterations on it. So any box that's empty has none, and any box that has metal is an altered string. And you can see some of these are really percussive, and some of the nuts and bolts kind of create this kind of singing harmonic over the fundamental of the note. So beyond just a discussion of Cage or American experimentalism, you can talk about composition. How do you structure a musical composition based on sounds, individual sounds? You could give a student assignment to take this tool and create a composition and ask them to be very specific about how they structured the 30 seconds or 40 seconds. What are they doing to create a sense of continuity? Are they using specific sounds as a focal point? Are they using motion? What are they doing to fill the space and to create a sense of intentionality so it doesn't sound like random craziness? And if you give them an assignment like that, one of the nice things about this app is you can hit record and you can record something. So a student might go, well, I'm going to hit a high note here and then play things in between it. Maybe that is what the students created. Then they can stop their recording, they can save it, they can share it, they can play it back and see what they get. But again, I like that you can have a conversation about a variety of musical topics. I remember when I was first teaching music theory, I was mentored by a music historian who'd dress in tails for, once a semester for his music appreciation course and come in and perform 4 minutes 33 seconds at a piano without any explanation beforehand, trying to recreate that initial performance where the audience didn't know what was happening, why the performer, I think it was David Tudor, why he wasn't playing, kind of simulate that kind of uncomfortable silence. Then explain to the class, well, it's really not silence. We're not hearing silence. The performer doesn't seem to be doing anything. And you look at the performer and you think, well, silence. But there isn't silence. There's all this other motion. I mean, in my mind, in my later years, I kind of relate this to John Cage's interest in Zen Buddhism. When someone's sitting and meditating, you see them. They're very calm, they're focused, and they're silent. They seem to have nothing going on, but internally there's all this mental activity, all this noise. And similarly, you can look at someone on stage performing 4 minutes 33 seconds, and it looks like, well, silence, there's nothing happening, but the audience is making all these noises. There's all these noises from planes going overhead, cars going by, streams, rain. There's a ton of noise all around us all the time. And what I love about this app is this app lets us create our own performances of 4 minutes 33 seconds. So a student can go out wherever they are and record the ambient sounds around them. If I hit play, we get a recording of 4 minutes 33 seconds from John Cage's New York City apartment. So this is essentially the ambient sound in his apartment. I also think it's interesting just to look around the globe, and you can click in on some of these and listen to some recordings. So let's just open up this one from Poland. So I have no idea what was going on in that first movement of this Polish 4 minutes and 33 seconds performance, but it was fascinating. The sounds were kind of entrancing. So I really like both of these apps created by the John Cage Trust. So in connection to the 4 minutes 33 seconds app and maybe the class discussion that you might have around the concepts raised by that piece and the concepts or the assignments that you could create around that app, I really also want to point to the app by Catherine Norman called Window. This was originally created as a website, but she created an app implementation. And what she did all throughout her house, all throughout the months of the year, she did recordings of, different places, different types of sounds that are common at different times of the year. So you can turn up individual tracks. I don't want to hear that. I want to hear this. Oh yeah, I want the vacuum. And then you can move between months. So this is kind of a labor of love, and you can actually drag these sideways, and on some of these it'll come up with John Cage inspired or even text created by John Cage. So this is quite an interesting app. I really enjoy it. And kind of the scope of this, a year's project of recording ambient sounds mixed with images and the ability to kind of mix sounds. It's really powerful, and it's really taking the concepts of 4 minutes 33 seconds and really stretching it on a grand scale. So I really liked this. I thought it fit in with the other two apps, and I think you should take a look. And if you're gonna talk about 4 minutes 32 seconds and use the app and assign people to go out and make recordings, I think this is something you can point to as the kind of place you can take this sort of thought or this sort of musical concept or sound concept. So, thanks for listening. Hopefully you'll go to the johncage.org website and support the John Cage Trust, who is doing amazing work, keeping these ideas alive, keeping the discussion alive. So, thanks for listening.